Hi, Rachel.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing pretty well. Yep.
So,
I'm here in Denver, Colorado, and so it's fun to watch all the people from all over the world in the chat.
isn't
So
it?
enjoying that.
Isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
And then a few
it's
familiar faces of my own too, so that I know are here in Denver too. Enjoying the sunshine.
fantastic. Welcome to all of the, what do you call yourselves? Coloradians? Colorado?
Coloradans usually, yeah, that
Yep.
was good. Uh-huh.
So
Not as cool as
thankfully,
Kiwis, but we like it.
Kiwi. Yeah. Yeah, although for those of you that don't know, we're called Kiwis because of the bird, not because of the fruit. Are you aware of that?
I was, but not for a long time. So I think that's a good comparison or a good, making sure it's clear.
Yeah, exactly. So just a bit of an introduction to what we're going to be speaking about today. Thankfully, conscious consumerism is on the rise. According to market research firm Nielsen, 73% of global consumers say they would definitely or probably, so take from that what you will, change their consumption habits to reduce their impacts on the environment. Millennials are reported to be willing to pay even more for these products over more destructive alternatives. And it's not just millennials, right? In the US alone, consumers are expected to spend $150 billion on sustainable products. And yet, it's not always easy to get our hands on all of these products, which is what led me really to my first guest. And that's because really she's created her own marketplace for businesses that are producing products that have a quantifiable positive impact on the world and the people in it. Rachel is founder of simpleswitch.org, an online marketplace for positive impact purchasing. She's shifting the culture of online shopping and enjoys being able to create the opportunity for everyday businesses to change the world. Rachel was recently curator of the Global Shapers Boulder Hub, which represents the Global Shapers community as backed by the World Economic Forum. Rachel, thank you for kicking off our summit. Tell us a little
It's so
bit
fun
about
to be here.
how Simple Switch came about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you hit the nail on the head just talking about everybody wants this, but everyone's having a very difficult time finding it. For me, that journey looked like I was a business consultant in South Africa working with under-resourced entrepreneurs in 2015. And I was just so amazed by their entrepreneurial skills and their ideas, their innovation, all the things that I would want as an entrepreneur and that I still do admire. But they didn't have the access to market that I would have had starting it here. And that felt really frustrating to me. So when I came home, I started thinking, I'm only one person. What can I do to help entrepreneurs like the ones I was working with? What can I do to change these problems that feel so frustrating to me with access to the market? I was seeing companies like Amazon grow and unfortunately hearing a lot about exploitation through companies like them, certainly not only them, but many, many companies, and seeing how those were getting easier and easier while companies like the ones that I wanted to support, to your point, companies with amazing sustainable focus, companies like the entrepreneurs that I was working with in South Africa, how could I kind of bridge the gap between these companies getting easier and then the companies that I wanted to support. So I decided, I made a really lofty goal that I was going to try and spend 70% of every dollar I spent with only social and environmental organizations. I thought, okay, well, it'll be a little bit of extra work, but at least I can continue to use, my purchasing power for good, vote with my dollar, all of those things. And I really hit a wall. I was very discouraged by how difficult it was to find these things. I would spend hours, looking up certifications and are these pants really ethical? And does this company use child labor? And oh no, I saw this one article saying that this company actually isn't that good, but then they use their marketing spend to cover that all up. So it was just very difficult to move through that. And I thought that was unacceptable. So that's where Simple Switch came from. I really wanted it to be a truly easy change, a simple switch for customers who buy everyday normal things. Since then, we've gone from 50 to 3,000 products. We sell everything from toilet paper that's made from sustainable bamboo, carbon neutral, to jewelry like the earrings I'm wearing that are made by women who are coming out of sexual exploitation or human trafficking. We have, almost just as many. Yeah, I saw a couple of people looking at the website. I saw someone just hold up the app. I'm glad you like it. We have a mobile app, or simpleswitch.org. We do unfortunately only ship to the US right now. So some of you will just have to be fierce advocates with your voices rather than consumers. But maybe one day we'll expand. We have grown a ton. We're working with about 50 suppliers right now and hoping to double that by the end of the year. But we just get to be this amazing in-between for consumers who, like you said, want to shop in a way that's aligned with their values. Another statistic I like is that 88% of millennial consumers think it's businesses' responsibility to help them do the right thing. So this isn't just that we're trying to, pander to consumers' desires and needs and whims. It's that we're really, companies who don't do this are not going to survive, in my opinion, as the, generations who care about this come up. And I also tend to believe that every living generation cares a lot about this right now, which is great to see. We have consumers of every age. But yeah, that's how we got started.
Yeah, amazing story. And I completely agree. It's, it's good for business, but it's good business too.
Definitely.
So your values are very much intertwined with your business, and clearly very aligned with your customers as well. What are the values that underpin your business and the ones that you think connect you to your customers?
Definitely. So we have kind of 4 main values that we ascribe to as Simple Switch, and they are very much also my personal values. Obviously, I have other values that I ascribe to that are less business related, but these are the 4 that are a huge overlap personally and professionally. Ours are, the first is don't buy more, buy better. And so we really make intentional decisions not to be a company that is just putting more ads in front of more people to get them to buy more products. We really are looking to help people divest from those companies that might be exploiting and then invest in these companies making positive impact. So we're not saying, yes, please buy more clothes, please buy more jewelry, please buy more gadgets. We're saying, the things that you already buy, that might be toilet paper, it might be your coffee, it might be your snacks, it might be your, everyday clothing. We would love to help. If you have a purchasing decision in mind, we would love to help you put that towards the most impactful, whether it be socially or environmentally company. So that's that value. A personal value, absolutely, as well. I try to be that kind of consumers and live that way, the same way I ask the consumers in our audience to live that way. The next is ease without apathy. This is a really important one. It can be applied across anything, not just my company or my life. But we talk a lot about trying to make this whole buying process easy for our customers. That's why we're called Simple Switch. We think that there is a huge lack of easy options for people. We're not asking anyone to be a martyr or change their whole life to make this kind of impact, just changing the website where they're buying their product. So what we don't want to happen when we do that is to create apathy, to have people be disconnected from the product. So we're not trying to make it so easy that people don't understand the solutions that they're providing with their dollar. So we ask people, we try to give a lot of customer education, be a thought leader around things like environmental and social impact, talk to people about why it's important that trees are planted instead of just telling them a tree will be planted with their purchase. We want people to be able to connect with the reasons that they're making the purchases that they're making. We believe that will allow them to normalize that behavior and make it in a more long-term way. But also it's important that we are able to see some of the solutions to these problems. Otherwise they can be hugely overwhelming. So that's ease without apathy. And then we talk about iterate often. It's kind of our version of fail fast, which you hear in the startup world a lot. So we want to be trying new things, innovating, going about our business as usual in a way that it's not necessarily usual. Can you still hear me? I heard a funny noise in my, okay, great. Yep. Some sort of warning noise in my headphones. But yeah, so we, for us, the way that this plays out as well is that we really try to be a very feedback focused organization. This plays out in a lot of different ways. One is within our team, my people who are reporting to me, I ask them to give me feedback and I give them feedback on a regular weekly basis. It also means that we want feedback from our consumers on how we can be doing a better job and how we can be iterating often our processes to make them better. Most importantly to me, it means that we also listen for feedback from our suppliers. So I think that some impact organizations, less and less, I would say, some impact organizations tend to go in trying to solve problems without being good listeners, and that can actually cause more harm than what it solves. So we really try to focus on not doing that and making sure that if we're working with an organization, whether it be someone who's an expert on climate and climate solutions, or whether it be someone who is really trying to fight against poverty, I'm here in a situation where I only have my own lens. So I'm really trying to be a good listener to our suppliers and we call them impact partners, our suppliers, making sure that we're listening to them because they're the ones boots on the ground making this impact and allowing us to help customers do it better. So that is really important. And then, I've got myself mixed up. The last is we say grow tamarisk trees. And this one is more of a story. It's a story I heard on a podcast several years ago when I was starting the company. And it is in the Middle East. There's a certain type of tree called a tamarisk tree, and it provides more moisture as well as shade than most trees in that area. And because it is such a dry, hot place, obviously that's really valuable. You do want to have some trees that are providing that kind of moisture and that kind of shade. The catch is that these trees don't come to maturity for 80 years. So if you are planting a tree and like this in your yard, you're not really planting it for you, and you're not really even planting it for your children. You're really planting it for generations down the line. It's not something that you'll necessarily see kind of a quick win from. We're not here to make a quick buck. And so for us, that plays out that we're trying to build systems that are really going to change everything. That sounds a little dramatic. We talk a lot about trying to use a business for a force of good. The spelling is Tamarisk. And I've found really mixed, I don't think there's one place where the way that we write it is written out online. So I heard it, like I said, in the podcast, but I love the idea of it anyway. And it's really about leaving a legacy. That's kind of our more creative way to say that we want to make long-term lasting change. We're not here to, be making a quick buck or helping any of these businesses that we're working with. None of them are trying to, just grow as quickly as they can and sell. Like, they all are here for the long haul. They're making relationships in their communities. They're creating long-lasting environmental innovations. We're so thankful for them. So those are our business values.
Amazing. Beautiful values. And
thank you.
Yeah, very much aligned with this community here too, I'm sure.
There's a saying, nodding.
Oh, good. There's a saying that I love, and I'm probably going to butcher it, but it's something like, when old men grow trees from which they will never reap the benefits of shade.
Exactly.
Similar concept. So we've got a couple of questions in the chat that I'd love your answers on.
Definitely.
A question from, this is terrible. I should be able to say your name because you are from the Netherlands, and so is my dad. Mart Jan, what about not-for-profit and NGO? Should these be values led as well? And I'm assuming that some of the suppliers you have are social enterprises or even not-for-profit, right?
Definitely. Yeah. And I see a winky face in his question. And I think it is really important that we're, letting this be something that we're all guided by. The way I maybe read that winky face is that maybe people are assuming that not-for-profit NGOs are in alignment with values, and sometimes they're not, and sometimes there needs to be, I guess that's just the way that I read it. And on the flip side of that are companies like ours who, near the beginning, especially since we are a .org, a lot of people were asking me if we were a not-for-profit, and we are a for-profit company. And that was a very intentional choice because I believe for-profit companies should be living this values aligned thing. And it shouldn't, in the same way that, you don't have to be a martyr to make a difference through your purchasing. You don't have to be a nonprofit to make an impact with your company. But yeah, definitely goes both ways, so that nonprofits should also be living according to very strict values as well. And a lot of times they are, but.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Rachel. That interview sped by. I know we had some other questions, but we're out of time. So yeah, thanks so much for jumping in here. And,
absolutely.
And you have a very generous 20% offer for our US based audience.
Yes.
Do you want to just quickly mention that?
Absolutely. Yeah. So as I mentioned, we currently only ship to the US. So if you or someone you know lives in the US, they're welcome to use this coupon, but we are offering 20% off any, first time purchase. Or I believe what I told you was 40% off if you're starting a subscription. So that would be, and like I said, we're really focusing on buy better, not buy more. So our purpose of the subscription is to help people normalize ethical shopping. It's not so that we get you in a gotcha situation where you all of a sudden find out that you have all these products you didn't need. We'll send you, a reminder before it comes so you can cancel if you need to. But the subscription is meant for things like toilet paper, coffee, things that you're going to buy regularly. You don't want to forget to buy it from us so that you're making the best change that you can. So 20% off any of the first time purchases and 40% off any of the first subscriptions. And that is with code values led. And I will also drop a link in the chat that you guys can follow for that.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Rachel. Go and check out Simple Switch, especially if you are in the US.
Absolutely.
So
thank you guys.
Thanks, Rachel.